Denise. Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. Denise. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party.
I gotta say, I feel like we're besties now after this. What's up, guys? It's Denise Salcedo. Hey there, everyone. Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. It's Denise, and I am back here today to chat about WWE NXT 2.0. That is right, the April 26th edition of the show. This show was not bad. It was not great, but it was not bad either. I want to start off by saying that we got some good items on the show here today. A lot of name changes that we already knew of, but we're officially kind of like seeing them in effect here tonight. On top of that, we also got the announcement that we are going to be getting the NXT Women's Breakout Tournament, the very first in 2 weeks. And we are also on our way to Spring Break-In, which is taking place next week. So we had a bunch of matches made for that. And basically, we're headed in that direction. So we got quite a few items to talk about here today. So before we get started, everybody, first of all, thank you guys so much for coming in each and every single week. Without you guys, I would not be able to do this show. So I appreciate you guys all so much for coming in here today. Now, before we get started, just a friendly reminder for those of you who are new to this stream, this is a very interactive show. So at any point, you guys are more than welcome to go ahead and send in any comments, any chats, etc. If you want to make sure your comment gets read on the stream, 100% guaranteed. You can go ahead and send in a super chat at any point throughout the show. And they also help me out because F4W Online does allow me to keep 100% of the proceeds after YouTube takes their cut. So let's go ahead and hop into the show, everybody. All right, so like I said, there were some things that were pretty all right today, and there were some things that I was kind of like, ooh, this is not that great. So unfortunately, we're going to get started with we're going to get started with Nikkita Lyons versus Lash Legend. So this match here, there's a couple of things that I kind of want to touch on for this one in particular. And the things that I want to talk about for this match is we obviously know that they have been basically putting Nikkita Lyons out there as this, she's sort of like the sex symbol on NXT 2.0, and that's the new NXT. It's more of this like very lucrative, like we're gonna have these like, we're gonna have. They're flaunting a little bit more on NXT 2.0 is what I'm trying to get at here. We know that NXT 2.0, it has been presented a little bit differently, maybe to attract certain viewers. We already seen stuff like that with Toxic Attraction and some of the other stuff with all of the dating stuff, all of the kissing, all of everything that's been going on with that. And with Nikkita Lyons, she has kind of like taken over or broken the internet, if you want to say it that way, because she is a very attractive girl, and they have definitely been flaunting that on NXT 2.0, so much so that it kind of has become not even like, it's kind of become the focal point for Nikkita Lyons. Like, instead of us maybe focusing on like, oh, Nikkita Lyons is this and this and that, they're really focusing more on the sex appeal portion of Nikkita Lyons. So that was something that I think has definitely been an interesting conversation because, again, that is the new changes that we are seeing on NXT 2.0. So with that being said, commentary, I think, kind of really took things to another place today, to the point where I was kind of feeling like, listen, I'm going to say this in the nicest way possible, but it sounded like I was listening to two of my creepy uncles do commentary for Nikkita Lyons' match, because immediately we got comments like, Wade was basically saying that Twitter was thirsty for this all week. I think what's-his-face was saying that it was that Twitter was foaming. Vic Joseph was saying that Twitter was foaming at the mouth for this match and for Nikkita Lyons. And I'm sitting here thinking like, man, this has really become the focal point for Nikkita Lyons, and I don't really know if that's a good thing or not. Now, I know for a lot of people it's a good thing. For me, I think it kind of takes away from like seeing Nikkita Lyons as a competitor, when you're kind of just always talking about the sex appeal, the sex appeal, the sex appeal. So that was one of the things that kind of stood out to me more so this week than some of the prior weeks. So with that being said, I started thinking about this, and maybe I'm thinking about this too much, but can you imagine? Can you imagine if it was two female commentators and the two female commentators were just talking about how like hot one of the male wrestlers was? Like, can you imagine that? So anyways, that was one of the things that it kind of took me, instead of like thinking about what I was going to be watching with this match, I started thinking about all of this other stuff. But with that being said, that's the new NXT 2.0. So we obviously kind of have to, I guess, I don't know, get used to it. I don't know. I legitimately do not know. So anyway, so with that being said, Nikkita Lyons is definitely over. So from the looks of it, it is pretty much working. She has gotten over as a baby face, but I think she's gotten over as a baby face because, again, she has been presented in a way where it's like, oh, she's, obviously, I don't know how else to say it, guys. I don't got the right words for this. But anyway, so the match itself, they made Lash Legend look pretty aggressive, which I liked. I thought this could have been a lot worse. I'll be honest with you. I didn't think this was terrible. It was just a match between, two girls that are still at a certain level. Nikkita Lyons is obviously a little bit more experienced than Lash Legend. We already know that. But I did like that they made Lash Legend look very aggressive. The crowd was like really into booing her and really into cheering for Nikkita Lyons, which was obviously good. And then on top of that, I thought that there was some couple of spots during this where Lash Legend was just like tossing out Nikkita Lyons and she was hitting the outside like it was nobody's business. A couple of brutal spots there for Nikkita Lyons, but there were some portions of this match where it did feel very like Divas era. It didn't really feel like it was just like a different vibe is what I'm trying to get at with some of the stuff that we're used to seeing, I think, when we're seeing people like Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair in the ring together. This was totally different than that, but it wasn't terrible is what I'm trying to get at. So either way, for this match, we end up seeing Nikkita Lyons get the win, as she should. I think she should, given that she's the person that they are pushing in this, and Lash Legend is still very, very new. We still haven't even really seen much of her wrestling. This is really her first real feud on NXT. More so, she was doing the talk show and all of that. And then on top of this, afterwards, this ends up leading into a match for Spring Breakin' next week. So after this match, we see Natalya come out and she jumps Nikkita Lyons. And so then it's Nikkita Lyons being jumped by both Lash Legend and Natalya. So she's being jumped by two women at this point. Sikoa Jade comes out to help her out, help even out the odds. And Natalya tries to get Cora Jade in a sharpshooter, but Cora Jade gets out of it. And later on, it's announced that there is going to be a tag team match. It's going to be Nikkita Lyons and Lash Legend against Cora Jade and Nikkita Lyons. So we are leading into this tag team match at Spring Breakin'. So for the most part, it wasn't terrible. It is very clear the direction we're headed in, and we're continuing on. And I'm looking somewhat forward to this tag team match. I'm interested to see how it's going to play out, etc. I was thinking, though, that we were going to get Cora Jade versus Natalya at Spring Breakin', but I'm assuming they're saving that for a little bit down the road, which is perfectly okay because they could tell a whole lot and really use that opportunity to really build up Cora Jade, since we all know that they're pushing her as well. So anyways, that was Nikkita Lyons. That was Lash Legend at the top of the show. What did you guys think of this? Do you share some of the same views, or do you have some opposing views? Let's get some comments. Let's get some conversation going in on all of this. But let's get into this. Let's kick things off with Sheldon Jackson, who sends in a comment saying, I feel like for some reason the original Rated R Superstar Edge would fit in NXT 2.0. Words I thought I would never say. Hey, man. Live sex celebration, that would totally fit into NXT 2.0, man. All right. And just to throw this out there, though, I remember I forgot how old I was during that time, but I was like in my early teens. And I remember going out and buying myself a Rated R Superstar Edge t-shirt. So yeah, I was a big fan of Rated R superstar Edge back in the day, mainly because I was a big fan of Lita, and anything Lita did or aligned herself with, I became a fan of. So I don't know if I was more so a fan of Lita or a fan of Edge, but it kind of just like intertwined together. But let's see what else we got here. We got comment from Mikey Jr. who says that NXT is showcasing so many new women. Yes, and that is definitely a huge positive. And we'll talk more about that because they did make an announcement in regards to that. So we'll talk on it in just a second. This is from Major Blood who says they can focus on the sex appeal if they also show how dangerous she is in the ring, a fighter and a badass that takes no shit. Yeah, I think they can find a nice balance for that, says Major Blood in regards to Nikkita Lyons. And let's go ahead and continue on from here, guys, and see what we got. And I'm going to continue on from this. Twitch Face Forces NXT 1.0 had pre-taped sex celebrations. Well, we did get that whole scene back in the day, not back in the day, like a couple months ago, when it was Dexter Lumis and Indy Hartwell. And there was even that whole thing where like Johnny Gargano was hiding in the closet. And I forgot, I think he gives them like condoms or something like that totally happened. So there you go. I think that can kind of count as a, that's not a live sex celebration, but it can count as something along those lines. Alrighty, let's go ahead and continue on from here, guys. Alrighty, so after this, everybody, let's get into an announcement that was made backstage from Roderick Strong. So Roderick Strong is having a meeting with his Diamond Mine guys and basically talking about how things necessarily haven't been going their way in the last couple of weeks. And he basically tells them, like, you know, you guys got to prove yourselves, et cetera, to the Creed brothers. And he tells them that he's booked them in a big, massive match against competitors that are a big deal. And I'm thinking, like, I wonder if they're gonna just like I didn't know what direction they were going in for this. I think they could have gone any direction. So when they announced the Viking Raiders, I thought, oh shit, nice. You know, we've been seeing several people from the main roster head on over to NXT 2.0, and the Viking Raiders, I think that given especially what we saw from them later today, this was definitely a good idea to bring down the Viking Raiders to NXT 2.0, at least for a couple of matches, etc. They had a match later tonight, which we're going to talk about, and then they are going to be having a match against the Creed brothers at Spring Breakin', and I am freaking excited for that match because I know it's going to be good. So I'm very excited. I think out of like everybody that's come down to NXT, like Natalia and Dolph Ziggler, I am more excited for the Viking Raiders being there because I think the Viking Raiders are freaking awesome and they've kind of stalled on the main roster. You know, they've kind of been treated more cartoon-like. They've been treated a little goofy on there where you don't really take them that seriously, right? Like against some of the other teams. We already know that. So for me, seeing them on NXT 2.0 is a huge win. I think, again, we'll talk about their match later on, but seriously, I don't think I've legitimately been this excited for somebody going back to NXT than I have been for the Viking Raiders. So this was a very good call, and I'm very, very happy about it here. Zeno Hour mentions that they don't want to break up Diamond Mine. I don't think they're going to break up Diamond Mine. I hope they don't break up Diamond Mine. That will not be a good idea. Pelmy Wrestling says Roddy demanding the Creeds to step up doesn't really work when he's lost 8 out of his last 9 matches. Has he really? Hold on a second. I got short-term memory over here, guys, and I only remember so much here. But let me double check that and see what Roderick Strong's record is like right now. Let's see. March 29th on NXT, he lost in a triple threat match against A-Kid and Cameron Grimes. He lost his match against Solo Sikoa the week before that. And then he was also in a 6-person tag with the Creed brothers, and they lost to Imperium. Then I'm skipping the dark matches. Those, I'm not counting those. I'm just counting NXT. He lost to a match to Walter earlier this year. Lost to a match before that to Carmelo Hayes. Lost a match against Braun Breaker before that. Yeah, okay. So yeah, you're totally right on this when you're mentioning that Roderick Strong has been rather picking up them L's instead of them W's. So yeah, you're right on this actually. Ooh. All right. Let's move on from here then. Let's get into Von Wagner versus Tony D'Angelo. So this match, this is one of those matches that I'll be honest, this one isn't for me. This isn't really what this is not really what interests me personally, because I'm not really that big of a fan of Von Wagner just yet. Tony D'Angelo's hit or miss for me each and every single week. It really depends on what they're doing with Tony D'Angelo. But on top of this, the match itself, it was a slow start. The beginning was a whole lot of them just feeling each other out, a whole lot of them just looking at each other from across the ring. They end up going to a commercial break. They're shown in picture, a couple of rest holds, etc. They did get a good amount of time, which obviously at the end of the day, you're only going to get better by going out there and working and, doing your job, etc. But this was a generic match, though. There really wasn't anything that stood out to me. I think because for the most part, Von Wagner and Tony D'Angelo, I see them on the exact same level when it comes to like in-ring stuff. I don't really like maybe Tony D'Angelo. And they're different. They're different, but I kind of pretty much see them at the exact same level. So for me, it's kind of like, I really wasn't expecting much from this match. But anyways, so we ended up getting the finish, and the finish is we see Legado del Fantasma. They come out and they end up distracting the referee. Tony D'Angelo's guys, they then come in and take Legado del Fantasma out. While that's happening, they're distracting the referee. So he does not see when Santos Escobar runs in and ends up hitting Tony D'Angelo on the back of the knee with the crowbar. And so he kind of takes him out there. Tony D'Angelo is about to be counted out, and I'm thinking, oh, this is going to end in a count out. Okay, whatever. But he ends up getting back into the ring, and then Von Wagner gives him a boot to the face, and that is how Von Wagner gets the win. Now, in terms of, let's talk about this, because if we look at the path that Von Wagner has been on in NXT, and we look at the path that Tony D'Angelo has been on in NXT, it's two different paths. Tony D'Angelo has, at least for the most part, gotten over with the crowd. He had a pretty good program with Pete Dunne, before he became Butch. They had a pretty good program there. And, now he's been doing this thing with Santos Escobar. So I personally was not a fan of seeing Tony D'Angelo lose to Von Wagner because, again, and I get it, though, Von Wagner really needed this win even more so than Tony D'Angelo. But I just, given the path that Von Wagner has been on NXT 2.0, I'm like, oh, you really had to beat Tony D'Angelo, who's actually one of the few guys that has legitimately at least gotten over with a certain percentage of the crowd. So for me, I wasn't really too keen on seeing Von Wagner pin Tony D'Angelo, even if it wasn't a clean victory, etc. Regardless, I'm like, So this does continue furthering the feud between Santos Escobar and Tony D'Angelo. They did announce that at Spring Break-In, I keep wanting to call it Spring Break, but Spring Break-In, they're going to have I think they promoted it as like a sit-down talk, or they're going to sit down and talk to each other. But I was legitimately, what I found funny about this was the graphics for this, because they had Tony D'Angelo standing on one corner with the Italian flag in the background, and then they had Santos Escobar on the other corner with the Mexican flag. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, we get it. Like, this is what they're going with. And they're really making sure that we know this. So I guess this means I definitely have to root for Santos Escobar since, but with that being said, this does further the feud for Santos and Tony D'Angelo. There's nothing else to say, guys. This was the biggest win for Von Wagner that he's ever had, but there's just a long ways to go there. All right, let's see what people are saying, guys. Let's get some comments in here and see what people are saying. Twitch Face 4 says, why isn't it called Spring Break-In with a double P? Good one. That's a good one. I like that. Oh, man. I'm trying to find some favorable comments here in terms of what we saw, but there's no favorable comments. Tony wants to know if Von Wagner's related to Ezekiel, Denise. I don't know. Maybe they could be cousins for all I know. Who the hell knows? Alrighty, so let's go ahead and continue on from this, guys. Let's get this comment in. This one is from Justin Martin, who says, Tony D'Angelo continues to be an over-the-top ethnic stereotype, and Von Wagner continues to be spectacularly average. Make that what you will of this. All right, let's go ahead and move on, everybody. So after this, we got Nathan Frazier. And this is supposed to be his NXT debut, but instead it's interrupted by Grayson Waller. So Grayson Waller comes out. He basically starts going off on the microphone saying that he doesn't need Sangha. And he tells the Chase University guys who are sitting there on the bleachers, tells them that their university is a scam, that all their girls are shaped like refrigerators. And then Nathan gets frustrated. He runs up into the ring, goes after Waller, drops, kicks him, and then does a dive to the outside to Grayson Waller. So Andre Chase then takes the microphone and says, "This is a teachable moment." After this, that was it. But Nathan Frazier, like I said on last week's show, because I'm not familiar, I don't watch NXT UK, everybody. I know, shocker. I don't watch NXT UK, so I'm not familiar with Nathan Frazier. But just for me, given that this was his introduction into NXT 2.0, and he's already if he's already aligning himself with Andre Chase and Andre Chase University guys, it kind of tells me what I need to know without really knowing what I need to know, if that makes any sense at all. I feel like it's interesting to say, but when you align certain people with certain people, it kind of brings down maybe some of the expectations that you might expect from that person. So I hope that they did announce that at Spring Break-In, it is going to be Nathan versus Grayson Waller in his official debut. So I hope that he kind of like proves me wrong there. And I hope that I become interested because, yeah, I hope that I become interested there. But that's it. I don't know much about him, so I really can't judge him off of anything because all I've seen was what we saw here today. But so far, all the people that they have been bringing over from NXT UK have been pretty good. So that makes me at least happy. That makes me happy there. And let's see what else we got here. Let's get some comments here. This is from Kyler James, who is here moderating. Says Nathan Frazier is going to be solid in NXT. Sheldon says, funny part is that Nathan Frazier got more of an entrance than A-Kid did in his debut. I don't even remember what his entrance was for A-Kid. I like A-Kid. We haven't seen him in a hot second. I really like A-Kid. But yeah, we haven't seen him at least in 2 weeks. I don't recall seeing him last week. I may have forgotten. All right, let's go ahead and continue on from here, guys. But we got people putting over Nathan saying that he's going to be great. So I hope so. I really hope so. And now let's get into what I'm excited to talk about here today. And they officially announced that we're going to be getting the first ever women's NXT Breakout tournament, and that's going to be getting started in 2 weeks. So I love the men's Breakout tournament. Obviously, we got to see Odyssey Jones. You know, he came out of that. Carmelo Hayes, he's the one who really, really got so much out of that. He ended up winning the tournament, ended up going on to win the NXT North American Championship, has been doing pretty good on NXT 2.0, and they do have a lot of women on NXT and a lot of women that even we haven't even seen just yet, or maybe they've just appeared on Level Up and we haven't actually seen them on NXT 2.0. They're going to be in that. So let's talk about this because I'm looking forward to this. Some of the women that were announced for this already, Santino Marella's daughter, who is now going under the name Ariana Grace. And yes, we're all thinking it. Ariana Grande. Everybody and their mothers, or at least people who know who Ariana Grande is. I'm pretty sure a lot of people know who Ariana Grande is. But the second I saw her name, I was like, okay, Ariana Grace, probably inspired by Ariana Grande. Cool, whatever. But she's going to be part of the NXT Women's Breakout Tournament. So they announced her. I'm excited to see what she's going to bring to the table. So they announced her. They also announced Kiana James. Kiana James was formerly known as Kayla Inlay, and she has been appearing on NXT Level Up. She's doing this like sort of corporate character. Kind of reminds me a little bit of like Stephanie McMahon's real life role. So they're going to have Kiana James. She's going to be in it. And then they also announced one more person. Sloane Jacobs. That is right. Sloane Jacobs. She's a 19-year-old girl, very, very young, and she is also going to be part of the NXT Women's Breakout Tournament. Those are the 3 names that have been announced so far. And looking at this roster of women, they got quite a few people. I'm assuming Cora Jade's going to be in it. Or I don't know. I don't think Cora Jade's going to be in it. I feel she's not as new. So maybe she won't be in. No, she's not going to be in it. No. She's not as new as these other girls. Definitely Roxanne Perez should be in it. I think if anything, she should probably win it. She would be a good one. And then everybody else I kind of feel has that we know of already on NXT 2.0. We kind of already know them. So this has to be like all new people. That's why it's the breakout tournament. So I'm excited to see what they do with this. And I do kind of hope that they include Roxanne in this. And I do hope that she kind of wins that. Draper Don says, who's your early pick of these 3, Denise? It's hard to say. It's really hard to say because I'm not very familiar with any of these 3 women thus far. So I feel like I can't really pick anybody because I haven't been watching NXT Level Up. Jesus, people are going to be like, damn, Denise doesn't watch NXT UK. She doesn't watch NXT Level Up. What else did I say I didn't watch? Something else I didn't watch. Guys, can only watch so much. But it's definitely... out of those 3, I don't know, but I do really hope that it's Roxanne is in it, and I hope she does win it. We got a super chat from Cameron Mumford. Thank you so much to Cameron for sending this in. Cameron says, I love this idea, but is it me or is NXT doing this? A little convenient with AEW doing the women's Owen Hart tournament. Anyway, this is a golden opportunity for WWE to make this a good tournament. I'm going to say no, because at the end of the day, there's got to be tournaments, and there's got to be tournaments not just for the men, but also for the women, also for the chicas. So I definitely think that this has, I don't think it has, you can't tie it into like everything that AEW is doing, you know? At the end of the day, they've done the NXT Women's Tag Team Dusty Classic. They did that whole thing. What else have they done? They've done that recently on NXT 2.0. So it's not like, yeah, I don't think they're doing it just because of AEW. Like, that's just my personal opinion. And it's not like they haven't done the breakout tournament, and they have so many women that they can do it with. So at least, I mean, tonight alone, they already announced 3. So next week, I'm assuming we're going to get a couple more. And then by then, it'll be time to actually start the tournament. So it looks like they definitely have women to fill up this tournament. So thank you so much to Cameron Mumford for sending in this super chat. And all right, let's go ahead and continue on from here. And let's see what we got after this. Let's see. After Nathan Frazier, the breakout tournament, let's go back into some more women's wrestling that we got to talk about here. We got Valentina Feroz and Yulisa Leon versus Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. For me, I'm gonna keep calling her Casey. It's gonna take a while, everybody. I'm not used to the name changes just yet for a couple of people. I'm just so used to saying Casey and Kaden. It's word vomit now. I can't just change it automatically. But anyways, Katana Chance and Kaden. And so this was honestly, at this point in the show, this was the best match at this point in the show, by the way that we're going about things. I like this. I really got to say that, these are both 2 good teams. Obviously, Kaden and Katana are a little bit more of an established tag team, and I really like what they've been doing the last couple of months together as a team. I've been a big fan of theirs. Valentina and Yulisa, I feel like they kind of, they came out of nowhere, and not a lot of people are talking about them, and I get it, but at the exact same time, I feel like each and every single time that they've gone out there to have a match on NXT, they've been really good. So I've been kind of like rooting for them, and especially Valentina. She's the taller one, and I think because of her size, when she does certain moves, it just looks a little bit more impressive because she is like a taller girl. So I've been liking them as a team. I think that they come out and, they're all smiles and they're, ready to have a good time. And so I liked seeing this matchup here because, again, these are 2 good women's tag teams that are at different levels, but are still good teams together. So we ended up seeing Katana Chance and Kaden Carter get the win on Yulisa and Valentina, but regardless, I thought it was a pretty decent match. And at this point, like I said, the best match of the night. And am I wrong? Is Yulisa the taller one? Which one's the taller one? Is it Valentina or Yulisa? Oh my gosh. Sorry. The taller one. I'm pretty sure it was Valentina, but I may be wrong now that somebody told me it's Elisa. All right, let me know here, okay? The taller one is the one that I think that has stood out to me the most. I'm pretty sure it's Valentina. Man. All right, moving on from here, guys. No, everybody's saying it's Yulisa. I hate myself. That's it. Firing myself from this job. Thank you to everybody who's pointing out that it's Yulisa. All right, moving on from here. We got a promo, a vignette from the former Kaylee Ray, who is no longer Kaylee Ray, but she is now Alba Fire. And on the bright side, she gets to play with fire. That's the bright side of all of this. I actually liked this whole thing. She had like a giant, I think it was like a stick with fire. Whatever. Alba Fire it is, everybody. Good for her. Happy for her. I like Kaylee Ray. Alba Fire. That's going to take a while, too. That's going to take a while. King of Hueco Mundo says, I like the one that dances. All right. Yes, Pile Driver Finishes says, I like that they put their character to work. They do. They do. They really do. All right. Moving on from here. And let's get into the 6-person tag team match really quickly. There's only so much to say about this one. Electra Lopez, Joaquin Wilde, and Cruz del Toro. The former Raul Mendoza is now Cruz del Toro. They defeated Fallon Henley, Josh Briggs, and Brooks Jensen. Now, I know we're all laughing about these name changes and everything, but I'm gonna be completely honest. If they, you know what? Screw it. If they said, Denise, pick someone's name and you're gonna change it, I would change Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen's names. And I hate to say this, but their names always mess me up because to me, Brooks is a last name. So I keep thinking it's Brooks. I keep messing up their names every single freaking week. And it's not like they're brand new here. We've been seeing them now for months since the start of NXT 2.0. And I still can't get their names right. Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen. Now, if they could get a name change, do the name change, damn. Just because that was the one that only messes me up here. But anyways, we got this matchup here, guys. There's really not much to say. Legado del Fantasma gets the win. It was fine. It was a fine match. I like Legado del Fantasma. There's really nothing else that I legitimately want to add about this. Nothing else other than that they are a good tag team. Alrighty, let's go ahead and continue on from here. We already talked about Kiana James. After this, we got a match between Solo Sikoa and Trick Williams. We haven't really seen Trick Williams get to wrestle much on NXT 2.0. For the most part, he has been, the right-hand man to Carmelo Hayes. He's been the focus in all of this. So I think Trick Williams, given the fact that we don't get to see him too often, it was nice to see him out here today. This was a decent match. Solo Sikoa gets the win with a splash. Good. This gives Solo Sikoa a win right before that triple threat match at Spring Break-In. Cameron Grimes ends up having a little bit of a confrontation with Carmelo Hayes, and Solo Sikoa comes in and he tries to super kick Hayes, but he ends up getting Cameron Grimes instead. Again, we're moving on past this, guys. There's nothing else to really say about this either. Oh, Justin Martin says Josh Briggs' name change is probably coming since he had that name before he got there. Ooh, probably then. I won't complain, though, because I keep messing up those names all the time. And all right, let's go ahead and move on from here. So, Malik Blade and Idris Sanofi, I have to say, I've been a fan of these two from the very beginning that I've seen them on NXT 2.0. Even when they were just having Malik Blade job out to like everybody and their mothers. I like them. I really like them. And I'll talk more about their match later on. But really quickly, I want to talk about their backstage segment because I thought it was pretty damn hilarious. You had Malik Blade essentially getting this like encouraging speech from Idris because Malik's like kind of not feeling super confident and going out there against the Viking Raiders. And he's kind of down and he's slumping his shoulders. And Malik is kind of the one that is, Idris was the one that was like kind of like, trying to get like giving him a pep talk, like, hey man, we're gonna go out there, this and that. So he fires them up. it was something so simple. I think Malik Blade is very funny. So I like this. This backstage segment worked for me. I would say do more character stuff with Malik and Idris. It's working. We've only gotten glimpses here and there, but the last 2 times that they've done backstage segments with Malik and Idris, they have both been good. They've both been a thumbs up. So do more stuff with Malik and Idris. I like them. I really do. And let's go ahead, and we have people agreeing with them as well here. Walter Johnson says, yes, the backstage segment was funny. Cadillac Carson's, I like these guys too. Like the Cool Runnings reference. They're fun. I like them. So let's go ahead and continue on from here. What? They have a YouTube show? Someone's Zeno Hour, they have a YouTube show? I didn't know this. I'll look that up. All right, let's go ahead and continue on from here. All right, so let's get into this match against Malik and Idris against the Viking Raiders. This was my favorite match of the night, okay? This was so much fun. This was literally just the Viking Raiders going in there and beating Malik and Idris, but Malik and Idris did not look terrible during this match. They gave them a lot of cool spots during this, to the point where it was just a very fun match, at least in my opinion it was. There was a moment where Eric gives a massive knee to Idris. That looked absolutely brutal. There's a Malik literally goes in there and he brings a lot of speed. That's one of the things that immediately from the first time that I saw him on NXT 2.0, I've taken interest in that. There was a moment where both guys ended up taking out Ivar. So Idris first tries to do a crossbody onto Ivar, but he ends up catching him. So then it is Malik who then goes to the top rope, and then he ends up doing a crossbody onto both of them, bringing them both down. So that was really good. For the finish, we end up seeing the Viking Raiders powerbomb Malik for the win. And again, this was a fun match, entertaining, and this is why I am now looking forward to see the Viking Raiders here on NXT 2.0. If they can have a fun match with Malik and Idris, they can certainly have more fun matches with just about anybody else. So I'm a fan of this. I'm glad that they're doing this for the Viking Raiders. And again, I'm really looking forward to that match with the Creed brothers next week. And Tony says the best 5-star match ever for Malik and Idris versus the victorious Viking Raiders. We got people putting over the Viking Raiders as well. Alrighty, and moving on from here, we also got a vignette from Wesley. So Wesley, we saw him get beat by and lose to Xyon Quinn last week. As we all know, his former partner of MSK, Nash Carter, is gone for all of those reasons, which we're not even going to touch on today, because now is a new day, and we're going to be talking about Wesley, who is now trying to move on from all of this and find a spot for himself on NXT 2.0 as a singles competitor. So they do this promo or this video where you have Wesley at a beach, and you know it's serious when the setting is a beach. When you're at a beach, it's serious. But anyway, so he's out there and he's talking about how he's angry, he's upset that they got the titles taken away from him, that, that he lost the titles and it was not his fault. And they're really hammering it home that it isn't his fault, but they lost, they don't have the titles. They haven't outright said anything in regards as to why they had to relinquish the titles. It's kind of just a if you know situation. If you don't know, well then poor you got to figure it out and clue yourself in. That's kind of how they're working this whole thing. But he's out there, he's talking about being angry, but then he says, he has to forget his past, that the future is also going to hold a lot of challenges, and he's moving forward and this and that. So he's, obviously angry, and he's trying to move forward. So we'll see where they go with Wesley and how much of his character is going to be changed now that he's moving into a singles picture. So yeah, I do feel bad for Wesley as well. A couple of people are pointing this out. I feel bad because it's like, damn, guys, at the end of the day, like if you're in a tag team, and not only that, not just a tag team, but you're tag team champions, and it's one of those situations where because this happened with your partner, it affected you and your career. So it does suck for Wesley. And last week, him losing to Xyon Quinn wasn't exactly the greatest start for him as a singles competitor on NXT 2.0, but I'm hoping that, he's able to bounce back and that they give him something cool to work with, Hopefully they don't give him like a hokey character. I hope for the most part he's an extension of who he is and who he was in MSK. Obviously tweaked a little bit, but hopefully he doesn't come out with this like hokey character like a Andre Chase or like a Tony D'Angelo where it's very, very like, I don't know how else to explain it, like very character, too much. Hopefully they don't do something like that with him. Hopefully they give him something that feels natural. It feels natural to him. So let's go ahead and continue on from this here. And let's get into Mandy Rose versus Roxanne Perez. So before we do, I actually need to take a second to plug the rest of the week, everybody. And we do have a super chat. Thank you so much to Alex Diaz 1990 who says, who's Braun's next opponent after Gacy? Carmelo ? Carmelo would be a good one because Carmelo did a fabulous job as NXT North American champion. And I don't like, and I know we're going to talk about this more in just a second with Braun Breaker and Gacy, but I do not like the storyline. I kind of hate the storyline with Joe Gacy and Braun Breaker, and I hated it even more tonight, which we're going to talk about in a second, but they need to put him in there with, but then here's the thing, if they put him in there with Braun Breaker and Carmelo Hayes, it's like, what do? Do you just have him defeat Carmelo Hayes? Maybe, maybe not. Carmelo Hayes is coming off of a hot run as NXT North American champion. I just think that they need to give Braun Breaker a more serious feud. None of this hokey smoke and mirror stuff. I don't like the smoke and mirror stuff, and we'll talk more about that. But thank you so much to Alex for sending in this super chat here. I really appreciate that. We have another super chat from Juan Rodarte. Thank you so much to Juan, who says, it was good to see Chase U segment. I always pop for teachable moments. Juan, why? I hate these. To each their own, but I hate these. They were funny the first 2 weeks, and now I'm just like, oh. But bless you, all right? If this does it for you, Juan, fine, but I hate it. But thank you so much for sending in the super chats. I appreciate you. Teachable moment. Oh, thank you, Juan. Let's go ahead and continue on from here, guys. We got more people on here who like it. Pile driver finisher too. Oh man, y'all are turning on me, guys. The chat is turning heel today, guys. Y'all are rooting for the segments I don't like. It's fine. It's fine. I'm not offended. My feelings are not hurt. It's okay. I understand. Seth R2. Jesus here. Oh man. And here I was thinking, oh, everybody must feel the same. I sound like those grumpy old men that just can't learn anything new, can't take any new opinions. Okay, so yeah, now everybody here are Chase U fans. Oh man, here I was thinking I knew my audience. I don't know, apparently nothing. All right, moving on from this. We got Mandy Rose. Versus Roxanne Perez here. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be like, why did Roxanne Perez have to lose to Mandy Rose? Here's why I'm not mad. I saw a couple people were bummed about this, but don't be bummed about this, okay? Don't be bummed that Roxanne Perez lost to Mandy Rose. And I'm going to tell you why. First and foremost, let's talk about this match. So Roxanne goes in there. She looks great, by the way. She looks great. Manda looks great. They both look great. We're getting familiar. The NXT 2.0 audience is getting familiar with Roxanne Perez. We already know, as the formerly known as Roxy. Her work that she did outside of WWE has been tremendous, and that is why she is in this position at such a young age. So during this match, there's a moment where Roxanne gets all savage, and I thought at first she was biting the nail of Mandy Rose, but later on in the replay, I realized that it was actually her finger. So she gets savage in there, biting fingers and everything. There's a moment where she tries to go for the code red. Mandy Rose counters that. We see a knee to the face from Mandy, and Mandy eventually gets the win in this match. But here's why I don't think this was a loss or a blow for Roxanne. At the end of the day, Mandy Rose is your champion. At the end of the day, Mandy Rose is, been proving herself on NXT 2.0. So for me, for her to be, for Roxanne to be put in this match with Mandy Rose kind of just sets her up at a higher level immediately right from the start. So I don't see an issue with her losing to Mandy Rose because Mandy Rose is an established person on NXT 2.0. So if anything, I only saw pros here for Roxanne Perez. And I do hope that she is included in this breakout tournament. And I do hope that she is the one that comes out winning because that in a couple, however long they choose to pull her up to the main roster, she's going to be a big deal there. So good for Roxanne. I was not bothered whatsoever by her losing to Mandy Rose here tonight. Afterwards, we got Wendy Chu who came out squirting with them water guns. And afterwards, she ends up trapping Toxic Attraction on the stage when a big giant net falls on them. I kind of thought the net was a little bit lame. I think they should have done something cooler. I don't know, like water buckets or water balloons. Just something a little bit more, like a net isn't going to do anything to anybody, okay? Nothing. Like, if a net falls on me right now, I'm going to continue this post show. No harm, no foul. And then I'll slowly just remove it. Nothing's going to happen. Now, if someone were to dump water buckets on my head, you know what? Then things would go straight to the garbage, go straight down the toilet. Okay. It would not be a good thing. So for me, I think that they could have done something a little cooler than a net. But anyways, afterwards, Wendy Chu and Wendy Chu and Roxanne Perez. Sorry, I don't know why I'm thinking of Cora Jade. Wendy Chu and Roxanne Perez, they end up spraying Toxic Attraction with silly string. And all I know now is that I want to be best friends with Wendy Chu because she hangs out all day in her PJs. She takes a nap and she plays with silly string and water guns. And I respect that. We got a super chat from Cadillac Carson. Thank you so much to Cadillac Carson, who says, losing a match is not a burial, especially if they let you shine in the match. Perez looks great, but it's not her time to get the push. But one day it will be. Exactly. And she did look good in this match. It wasn't like she got squashed by Mandy. It wasn't like Mandy just beat the living hell out of her. No, Roxanne looked good in this match. So I had no issue whatsoever with Roxanne losing to Mandy Rose here tonight. Thank you so much to Cadillac Carson for sending in this very generous super chat and keeping me fed on this show. All right. More people putting over Roxanne. That's always nice here. And let's go ahead and continue on from here. All right, let's talk about what's been announced for Spring Breakin'. We got Nathan Frazier is going to officially have his in-ring debut at Spring Breakin' against Grayson Waller. The Creed Brothers versus Viking Raiders. That match was co-signed by Denise Salcedo. I like to believe that match was made just for me because I knew I'd enjoy it. Sikoa versus Cameron Grimes and Carmelo Hayes for the NXT North American Championship. That should be a really good match. I'm looking forward to that. We're also going to be having the sit-down meeting between Tony D'Angelo and Santos Escobar. I have to, by default, root for Santos Escobar, BTW. So sorry, Tony D. All right. And lastly, before I move on to our final topic of today, friendly reminder that I will be back here tomorrow for AEW Dynamite. Wednesday nights is probably my most popular show of the day. Actually, I used to say that, but Fridays are creeping up there, guys. The Friday shows are doing pretty good now. There's been a couple times where my Friday shows have outnumbered my Wednesday show. So people be coming in on Fridays. I don't know what's going on Fridays, but people love that show too. So come in on Fridays for Smackdown and Rampage. And again, Wednesdays for AEW Dynamite. That reminds me, I was going to make this really dumb joke on Twitter, and I forgot that I never made it. I'm going to make it soon. All right. All right. I'm going to test it right now, guys, and tell me if this is tweet worthy or not. Keep in mind, I don't have the right wording for this, but there's three people that watch. You ask 3 people if they're going to watch AEW Dynamite. One says duh, one says nah, and one says might. Is that a stupid joke? Should I tweet it out? Should I not tweet it out? Let me know, guys. I'm trying to think before I tweet here. But clearly I'll say anything on this show. Alrighty. I'm waiting for people to tell me if my joke was really bad or not. I was going to tweet that like 2 weeks ago and I decided not to, but clearly it hasn't left my brain. All right. And moving on from this, someone's Driver says, no, don't tweet it. Someone says a big L. Major Blood says, LMAO, stupid joke. Yes, tweet it out. Please do. No, now that everybody's making fun of my stupid joke, I'm definitely not going to tweet it out. But if anybody steals it, if someone steals it and it ends up being a hit, I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to be pissed. Anyways, Generation Lost says, that joke is awful. Love it. Thanks. Seth R laughed. I appreciate it. Duh, nah, might. All right, whatever. Moving on. Apparently now Tuesdays are my focus groups. You guys are now part of my focus group for what I should and should not be tweeting out to the world out there. Alrighty, but now we got Joe Gacy in this segment with Braun Breaker and Rick Steiner, which was just god awful. This was not good. I was not a fan of this. This is not for me. I don't know who this is for, but it's not for me. Joe Gacy comes out and he's out there with his guys that are dressed all in black. I don't know what you call them. The guys dressed all in black. They come out and they're all around the ring, etc. He's out there talking about God knows what, because I tuned out. And Rick Steiner comes out and he basically tells Joe Gacy that Braun Breaker is not injured, that he's going to be having a match with them, etc. Then Braun Breaker comes out and Joe Gacy takes him down right away. Braun Breaker's laying there just like I don't even know. Anyways, so then he signals for his guys. They're all lined up in the stage area. So they're all forming a line. And they end up doing this thing where they pass the NXT championship to the next guy, to the next guy, to the next guy, eventually getting to Joe Gacy. And this was slower than the Undertaker's entrance. But we finally got the bout to Joe Gacy. He lifts up the NXT championship and Braun Breaker's just laying there like, I got cramps. I can't go to school today. It's my monthly. I was not a fan of how this made Braun Breaker look. I haven't been a fan of how this has been making Braun Breaker look. The smoke and mirrors stuff, and there was legitimate mirrors on last week's show. It's not for me, guys. It's killing the aura of Braun Breaker for me. Like, Braun Breaker's supposed to be this cool MFer that's just gonna, beat people's asses and this and that. It's ruining the aura for me. I need the aura to be protected. So anyways, that's that. And also, I was wondering where Harland was at. And people said like, oh, he recently got married. He got married like a month ago. So he's been gone for like a bit. Unless he like got married, then went back to work and then went on a honeymoon. I don't know. But he's been gone for like 2 weeks. We haven't seen him since the whole cage thing with Rick Steiner. So he'll probably be back next week at spring break and probably. I don't know. Alrighty, so that was that. Let's see what we got here. Queen of Waco Mundo says Braun Breaker character is already destroyed. I wouldn't say destroyed, but they're killing a little bit of that aura though. They are really killing it just a bit. Zeno Hour says Chase U likes my joke. Oh no. It's not a good thing. And Walter Johnson says Braun Breaker, geez, good luck to him. Sheldon Jackson says Joe Gacy and druids. Yeah, at this point, I'm like, can we get into the next Braun Breaker feud, please? Because this ain't it at all, says Sheldon Jackson. Let's get a couple more comments in here. This is from Street Cram CH, who says, this kind of segment makes 2.0 so lackluster, and says, your Mania weekend was so engaging. Your Mania vlog weekend was so engaging. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for watching that, BTW. Mohamed says, let the man celebrate his honeymoon. Yeah, you're right. I'll let a man enjoy his honeymoon. I mean, it's not like he's missing much. But yeah, that's pretty much it, everybody. I don't know what else to say. That's NXT 2.0 for you all. Some hits, some misses, but that was the show. So before I go, just a friendly reminder to all of you, give this video a like, leave a comment afterwards in the comment section to help this algorithm so the show can be found by more people who want to chat about NXT 2.0. Share this video with your friends and family. Tag me on social media. I usually keep an eye out to see who's promoting the show. Cameron Mumford, who's always here, is literally like the leader of all of this, is always sharing the shows on a weekly basis. Cameron, I see you. Thank you so much for that. But seriously, guys, help me spread the word about the show. It means a lot to me if you guys do. On top of that, give this video a like, subscribe to F4W Online. Like I've said before, we're almost at 100K. We're like less than 20,000 followers away. We're like 17,000 followers away. So we're almost there. On top of that, youtube.com/Denise Salcedo. That's where you guys can find all of my stuff on my YouTube channel. But other than that, thank you guys so much. Love and appreciate all of you guys. See you on Wednesday.